Hello everybody and welcome to a new season of CUSA All Access, and we are so excited to be live here in Studio 2. Dylan Simmons joined alongside my guys Devin Lockhart and Denver Sikorsky. Guys, it is great to have you on today. Got some new blood on the podcast. You know, you're both young, you're freshmen, you're spry, and you got some new vantage points that I want to hear throughout this season. So glad to have you on. And gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good. Thank you for having us on. We're excited to talk some ball, whether it's football, volleyball, Conference USA. We're here for you.
Yeah, I agree with Devin. I'm glad for the opportunity. I'm glad to be here with you guys. And let's get the show started.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You guys seem like you're passionate. You seem like you're ready to go. Well, here's something that I know you're both going to be passionate about, because there was a football game this past Saturday here in Murfreesboro, Middle Tennessee versus Duke, and I think that's a great place to start a new season of CUSA All Access. This was a tough one for Blue Raider fans, and there were a lot of people with a lot of opinions about what happened in the game. And I think where we need to start with this one is the mistakes that Middle Tennessee made. 3 fumbles in the first quarter, several turnovers throughout the game. Middle Tennessee gave up, 35 points to Duke on fumbles / turnovers and mistakes. Yep. So they kind of handed this game to Duke, it felt like. What was your takeaway? I mean, what did you guys think of this one?
I mean, new season you just talked about, but it's, for Middle Tennessee, it's that new era. It's that Coach Mason is bringing in that new era. As he says, Burrow built, Middle made.
Yeah.
It's not looking like that. It's looking like the same old that we've had with Stockstill. And with that being said, it's a new coaching staff. So it's going to take time to adjust.
Sure.
But there are those little things, like you said, 3 fumbles in the first quarter, where you know that, because it's fundamentals, where it's like, even though it's a new coaching staff, you know not to fumble the ball. You know turnovers will become costly.
Yes.
So the big thing I have is, right off the bat, I think within 2 minutes of the game, MTSU scored on the third play on a third down.
They did.
And
Flip cradle, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Absolute legends, my boy.
Yeah. They that sparked a fire on the bench, but it went up and came back down.
Yeah.
And it never got relit. And that's the issue. And I've seen that a lot in these past couple games, especially with that Tennessee Tech game. We were up 21 at half.
Yeah.
We were rolling, we had momentum, and then the second half, we fell apart, and we cannot reignite that fire. So that is going to be a big question going into this Memphis game.
So they need some Billy Joel philosophy. You know?
Yep.
You got to restart the fire.
Yeah, I agree with Devin. It is going to take some time with Coach Mason. Most of the time when coaches are put in new societies, new environments, they have to get used to that environment. They have to get used to the offense and the defense and how things work. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Derek Mason has a coaching record of 28-58. So
yes,
kind of a struggling sequence there, but it is going to take time, and I do think that we will eventually see some improvements from him. He will make some changes. As you guys were talking about, the 3 fumbles, they're not putting the defense in a good position to succeed. And, in the last game, I like what the passing game has been doing. Last game was Vadiato's lowest passing game. And I'm just really excited to see what they can do going forward. Flip Cradle had an amazing game. Like you said, he sparked it off. And right after that, the defense just struggled. And my problem has really been with the secondary and watching.
Agree.
Watching.
Yeah.
Agree, definitely.
It's been the secondary, watching most of the games. If you've watched the highlights, if you were there at the games, multiple corners not turning around. If they literally just turn their head, they can intercept that ball, and we could have so much more takeaways, and we could be in these games so much more closer. Another thing has been, not getting it in the red zone. There's been multiple times where this team has had it on the 1-yard line on 4th and goal, and we just had not been able to convert. So I think in the Memphis game and coming up in these big conference games that we need to win. We just need to convert on those big plays. The defense has to hold down, especially the secondary.
Yes.
And we just got to make a good run here.
I mean, to me, it felt like MTSU could have very well defeated Duke because the Blue Devils, while yes, they have talent, yes, they have consistency, I don't know if they were as explosive at points as Middle Tennessee. It felt like big play-wise, the Blue Raiders had the edge in the game. But what we did, or what Middle Tennessee did, was they just gave the ball too many times. And there's only so much the defense can do when they're set up in plus territory time and time and time again. And, you know, it's a recipe for disaster, and that's kind of what happened. That's what we saw.
And, yeah, I mean, off that point, the defense can only do so much. Your offense is what mostly wins you games.
Right.
But there have been so many issues with the defense that the momentum isn't even there for the offense to go out and produce.
Right.
The other thing is, our fourth-string backup QB is a safety right now because we've had so many injuries.
I heard about that, yeah.
That's
pretty wild.
That's why.
That is crazy.
You go to MTSU to play quarterback, and they're like, "You're gonna be our safety right now."
we got a job for you, man.
Exactly.
I wonder how that conversation went.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty interesting to think about. I mean, I guess that shows, though, hey, you got to be ready to suit up in any position.
Yeah.
Because you never know when your number is going to be called.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, with Devin said, at this point, our teams are basically an infirmary at this point with the amount of injuries we have. But I think Derek Mason will turn this around. You know, he doesn't want to have people talking bad on him about his coaching career.
Yeah.
Because, you know, coming in, he did have NFL experience. And, you know, when hearing that, you have excitement. And most of the times, fans, when they have new coaches, they expect new results.
Right.
And so far, it's not going that well. I hope that he turns it around so people can start talking good about him. So I think he's going to turn this around.
Well, you know, Denver, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to build these things, and I think what you're trying to say is patience from the Blue Raider fan base. Having patience is going to be key.
It is going to take time.
But like schools, you look at Alabama, you look at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Heupel's brought in, DeBoer's brought in this year.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, they're good. So they're right now undefeated.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think that's what they're kind of expecting.
Yes.
And they have to be like, have a reality check of, okay, yeah, maybe we don't have like the 25 5-stars or that. We have 3 stars. We may have 1 or 2 5-stars, but like, we're here to work for it. We have to work for it. It's just not like right away given to us.
Yes.
And that's what Mason is definitely bringing into this.
Yeah.
And I think patience, just like you both said.
Yeah.
It'll take time. Give or take 3 years. MTSU may win the conference in 3 years.
Ooh.
Hot take,
Okay.
but
Hot
take.
I like
yeah,
this.
you know, yeah.
Because his experience, since he does have NFL experience, he can bring a lesson to each of these players on these teams and teach them things that they've probably never learned before. And so they can all learn together and grow together, and this team will become better over the years.
I think the talent is certainly in place, and it's just all about putting everything together on both sides of the football. And we did see some of that on Saturday. I think rushing-wise, that's the best the rushing game had looked in a while. Flip Cradle had 125 rushing yards, a touchdown. They got Holden Willis involved a little bit, 3 receptions. I would have liked to have seen them go to him a little bit more because he's such a dangerous target. When he gets out in the open field, he's like a bulldozer. He'll just run you right over.
Oh, yeah.
So they can get Holden Willis more involved. I think they're going to be even better offensively. And when you look at the yardage totals, they were pretty similar. Duke had 340 yards. Middle Tennessee had 295. Malik Murphy was held to 216 passing yards. If I had told you that before the game, you would have thought this is pretty competitive all the way through. Not that MTSU lost by, what was it, 28, 35?
Yeah.
45.
17.
17.
Yep, 45-17.
So really, the stats don't tell the story here. Well, they do tell a story. The story of this game was a lot more evenly matched than we would think.
Definitely.
And the score sometimes doesn't always reflect that. So if Middle can overcome those mistakes that they made against Duke, put those in the past, and go into this Memphis game with a fresh perspective and a new slate, they could very well upset a team that people in their minds thought could make the G5 playoff spot.
Yep.
So, I mean, all that's on the table.
And the other thing is, Memphis is coming off a loss.
Yep.
People were saying,
To Navy.
They're exactly.
Yeah.
To a triple option
Triple option,
team.
man. Gotta love it.
Bread and butter.
Yeah.
The classic. But so Memphis is going to be a little fired up.
Yeah.
They're like,
As you would be.
we just lost to Navy. Now, mind you, Navy with the new coach, they've been pretty good.
Sure.
Last year they gave Notre Dame a eye-opening experience when they faced them in Dublin.
That was
a good game.
It was.
But the other thing is, MTSU has to bounce back as they're projected to finish 4th in the conference.
Right.
Off this start, that's
Yeah.
not looking like 4th in the
Not looking-
conference.
yeah.
They're currently at 3rd to last with a 1-3 overall record and an 0-1 record in conference play.
I do think, though, you got to consider this, too. The one CUSA team they played may just win the conference this year. And actually, that kind of leads me into my next point in our next game, Liberty versus East Carolina. I am not sure if Liberty is as good as we thought they were going to be, because they got down 17-0 to East Carolina in Lynchburg. They looked very beatable, and the Pirates let them come back. But, I mean, Caden Salter ended up being good at the end. He had 4 touchdowns, 19 for 32, 223, but he also had a pick 6. Quentin Cooley had 105 yards, but that was on 19 carries, so not as explosive as he can be. The Liberty defense looking a little bit more suspect. I mean, they only won by 6 against New Mexico State. They gave up 24 to Campbell.
Yep.
Something's going on here in Lynchburg. Do you guys, I want to ask you this, do you guys think Liberty is still a CUSA and really college football playoff contender, or are the Flames flamed out, for lack of a better term? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, first of all, ECU having ECU put up 17 and then them coming back
Yeah.
definitely shows resilience from Liberty. But with that being said, yes, you have a phenomenal QB, probably one of the best QBs in Conference USA.
You could argue he's the best dual threat quarterback in the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except what we saw in the WKU versus MTSU game when TJ Finley got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a whole nother book to open. But
he looked good.
he really did.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it shows resilience, but I don't think they have enough weapons around him compared to WKU. And Blue Raider fans may not like this.
Uh-oh.
Oh gosh.
Careful, man.
WKU probably will win the conference.
Ooh. All right. Are we gonna write that one down? Is that a bookmark?
Write that down in the predictions.
Okay. Devin says that Western Kentucky will win Conference USA.
I think so.
We'll come back to this at the end of the year to see if you were right, or at least close to right.
But MTSU, where they're falling in 4th, I think they'll do it.
Okay. All right.
Liberty is currently 4-0 right now, and most of the time you could say there's a difference. There's a real 4-0 and there's a fake 4-0. Sometimes people say a fake 4-0 is you play teams that are just not as good as they're expected to be and you just blow them out. Like you guys said, they went down 17-0 the other night. Cooley started getting going in the second half. Salters threw 3 touchdowns to Reese Smith, is that his name?
I think so. That
Reese
sounds
Smith,
right. Yeah.
3 straight touchdowns from him. They started to get going. I don't know how to feel about Liberty right now. I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I feel like they could be well, but the question is, you talk about the resiliency. They were able to come back against ECU. What happens if they do play a better team, such as WKU? Things like that aren't going to be able to happen. WKU
Right.
is a better defense, so I'm concerned for Liberty. I do think they'll keep playing well, but it all depends on if they play better teams on how they're going to perform.
Well, and the thing about Liberty this year, too, is as far as getting into the playoff is concerned, they don't play a single Power 4 opponent all season long. So you don't really have many opportunities to prove yourself. And if you keep getting in these barn burners with these G5 teams who, fair or not, the committee are going to look at and say, that's not impressive. We don't think much of those teams, or at least not as much as we do, say, Western Kentucky playing a Power 4 and keeping it close, even though they didn't keep it close against Alabama. They lost, what was it, 63-0?
63-0.
Yeah. 63-0.
It's horrible.
But the committee may still see that as, well, hey, Western Kentucky has played more consistently, and they've been willing to play these Power 4 opponents. Liberty didn't even show us anything against the P4. So I think when you look at all that, Liberty is on really thin ice right now. Even if they go undefeated, let's say they go undefeated, they win Conference USA. Are we for certain that a one-loss Boise State, who barely lost to Oregon in Autzen, who wins the Mountain West, how are we going to feel if Boise State gets that spot? Because the committee could very well see that. Heck, they've already got Boise State ranked. They're 25th. So it seems like the committee's already setting a precedent for this to possibly happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, Boise State, yes, they have one loss.
Right.
But they have a stronger strength of schedule.
Yes, a much stronger strength of schedule.
And that plays into deciding tremendously. I mean, now, big talk a couple years ago was that Florida State, when last year I believe it was.
Last year, yep. 2023.
When Florida State didn't make it, undefeated. Yes, but did they really play hard teams?
Well, you could argue that they did.
They played solid teams.
Solid teams.
They
beat LSU.
Liberty, yeah.
Yeah.
Where a Liberty plays solid teams, but a Boise State, they traveled to Oregon.
Yep, they did.
Eugene, that's a hard place to play.
Incredibly hard place to play.
With that atmosphere, that's tough.
Oh, yeah.
You travel there. You got other big name schools on the schedule.
Especially in the Mountain West this year, because
Definitely.
UNLV looks good. San Diego State's always a tough team to face off. And who was the other one that was really good last year? Was it Utah State? I could be wrong about
yes,
that.
it was Utah State.
Utah State. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, so with that being said, I think, yes, Boise State has one loss, but they're facing better teams than Liberty.
Yeah.
As well as, I mean, not just Boise State, Memphis, who Middle Tennessee's about to play.
Right.
They upset FSU. Now, mind you, FSU is having a down year.
A very down year.
Yeah, well, to say the least, down year.
It's music to my ears. I love seeing it. I hope they keep doing that.
With that being said, Memphis, yeah, they've also had some tougher games than Liberty.
Right.
So, like, a one-loss team who's played bigger name schools than an undefeated Liberty, I'm going with that one-loss team.
Yep.
And
I agree.
that is big. Yes, Liberty, don't get me wrong. If Liberty goes undefeated, you're in the conversation, and I would say you're one of the top three.
Yeah.
If not number two.
About have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with Devin. It's all really on who you play, because you could look at a team that's like 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, and be like, they're undefeated, but at the same time, who did you really play? Did you play a school that is actually good? Do they have a good offense? Do they have a good defense? Are they well coached? And then you look at Boise State, you said they have one loss, right? But they played harder schools, and that's a team that you got to look out for. And most teams, like, say if Boise State they end up being 5-1 and Liberty is 6-0. You could look at Boise State and their one loss was actually to a good school. And then you look at Liberty and all the schools that they've beaten are just no-name schools that are not really that great. So that the strength of the schedule is definitely something that plays.
I do want to ask this question to both of you before we move on to any other topic, because I don't know if Liberty is going to have as realistic of a chance of getting in the playoff now, considering what they've done as of late. So, today, if Conference USA needs a team to make the college football playoff in that G5 spot, Who is the conference's best chance to make it right now?
WKU.
Western?
They have,
Even with the 63-0 loss to Bama?
even with that loss, they faced Alabama in Bryant-Denny. That's a tough place to play.
Right. Very tough place to play. Yeah.
And they're a top-tier school.
They are.
With that being said, they have TJ Finley, who's really good, and they also have the backup.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. You don't get many places where your your backup is just as good as your starter.
Maybe better on certain
Exactly,
nights. Yeah.
maybe better.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you have weapons all around you. You have XY receiver, the Y. I mean, you could run your tight end at the H position, or you could bring him in to block. With that being said, I think Western Kentucky has more weapons and more chips on the table to say, I'm all in, than Liberty.
Okay.
I agree with Devin. I'm going to go with WKU. I don't have much to say because he really said everything that I was feeling, but at the same time, I'm just concerned with Liberty right now. I'm kind of iffy on who they're playing and their schedule, so I'm going to go with Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky for both of you. I think that's the right answer. Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with that. To me, Western's been the most consistent team as of late, and we all saw what they did against MTSU. That was on my birthday, actually.
Yeah,
and,
it was
painful day.
You know, we're supposed to be kind of unbiased here on COSA All Access in terms of our coverage of the conference, but there's no hiding it. We're MTSU fans, and that was tough for my birthday to have to witness that. But I can't deny the talent that Western Kentucky has on display. They got a very solid defense, a tremendous offense. That passing attack is lethal, always is. They're going to be a tough team for anybody to handle, and I think if they and Liberty were to go head-to-head today, I'd put my money on Western.
Yep.
And that's tough to say, but it's the truth. But yeah, Conference USA football, very interesting right now. Lots happening, lots changing, and it seems like there's going to be kind of a changing of the guard potentially on the horizon this year, but we'll see how it all works out.
The question is, I believe Liberty travels to, do they travel or do they host?
I think they travel to App State.
They travel to Boone.
Appalachian.
That place, that crowd is raucous.
Oh,
For a
yeah.
small school, packed, season tickets sold out, I saw.
Yes.
They are raucous, and that's a tough place to play. So I believe, even though App State is having a down year as they got blown out by South Alabama,
They did.
at home, raucous in Boone,
Never easy.
I really don't know about Liberty there.
And
That's going to be a fun one to watch.
Well, and Denver, you know that App State's going to be playing kind of ticked off, right? Because they're thinking about what happened against South Alabama. They want to take out their anger on somebody. Here comes Liberty strolling in, who's, you know, people think they're all high and mighty, right? Even though
Yeah.
Liberty's probably going to be focused and trying to take out App State. You know, there's maybe an upset brewing there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Liberty performs in App State with that crowd excited on the road. I think App State's going to come out and give them a good game, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top.
So there's a lot of other great games to watch this weekend as well. One that caught my eye, Sam Houston versus Texas State. That is going to be very interesting. I think, did you guys see the Thursday night game that the Bobcats had against Arizona State? I know Devin did, because we were up in the newsroom together watching that game.
That was a finish.
That was a heck of a finish. But Sam Houston looking solid this year. They got one loss, which is to, I think, a really good UCF team, an undefeated UCF team, who's, by the way, going to be on Big Noon Kickoff this week against Colorado.
Yeah.
So they got their own thing going on in the bounce house. But you know, this is going to be a very interesting G5 matchup, and it's Sam Houston going into Texas State. Do you guys think the Bearcats can handle what Texas State could bring to them?
I think so. But with that being said, it's so iffy for me.
Yeah.
Because it's really a good defense
Right.
versus a good offense. It's not both teams. I mean, both, mind you, yes, they do have a good defense, or a good offense, excuse me.
Yes.
But they have a better defense, so it's a better defense versus offense versus a better defense versus defense. What do you think, Denver?
So, Sam Houston, I'm going to go with Sam Houston to beat Texas State. I think this could be a low-scoring game. I am going to go with Sam Houston. I think the offense is going to be able to propel them right to the end. I say maybe like a score of like maybe 10-7, low-scoring game. Both defenses, like you said, very well. But it's going to be a good game. I think I got Sam Houston winning this one, going to 4-1.
And there's one more game I want to talk about before we move on here. Western Kentucky taking on Boston College.
Oh.
A recently ranked Boston College. Now, we've talked a lot about Western, and we know what BC has been able to do this year. They ran Florida State out of their own building. Could we possibly see a Western upset? And if so, does Western Kentucky need to be brought into that top 25 conversation?
I mean,
maybe it's a little early for that, but
I would say that's a little early. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks later. We can
negotiate that. Yeah.
Recircle about that one. But is that game in Boston College?
I think it's in Boston.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in Boston.
I gotta say, Western Kentucky wins in Boston College.
Whoa.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
Man, you were throwing some hot takes today, Devin.
By 3.
Putting that one down.
By 3.
By 3
okay.
points.
By 3 points.
By 3
Feels
points.
a blowout. I was going to
And
go crazy.
Over
It's
Boston College.
Over Boston College, and I'm saying because WKU's running back can get it done compared to Boston College secondary. They're kind of like a. I would say their secondary's a MTSU similarity, where it's their outside corners are good,
Right.
but you got a couple pieces missing on the inside.
Yeah.
That's the
have
thing.
full
Rough
secondary.
inside game. I disagree with Devin on this one, unfortunately. I think Boston College is going to win because I look at their schedule. They beat a top 10 FSU team. They win 56-0 against, how do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce that?
Is it a G5 school?
Yeah,
G5.
Yeah.
Duquesne.
Duquesne.
Oh, Duquesne. Yeah,
Yeah.
FCS. Yeah.
Only
yeah.
losing by 6 to Missouri, a top 6 team right now in the world, defeating Michigan State, and now they're 3-1 going against Western Kentucky. I'm iffy on whether this is going to be a good game or not. I will go with Boston College taking the W, but
Okay.
it would be nice to see Western Kentucky get a win.
Nice.
It'd be nice.
You want to see Western win?
It would be. I don't have them winning, but it would be interesting to see
think-
them
All right,
beating.
Mr. Blue Raider. Okay.
it would
I
be-
like his point because
Yeah.
it
not a
kind of puts
bandwagon.
Conference USA on the map. It's like
It does.
we're
It does.
here. Don't forget about us. We're a solid conference.
I you know what? I understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from. We'll leave it to what happens on the gridiron to decide that. So we got just a few minutes left here on CUSA All Access today, but you know there are a lot of other great sports in CUSA that I want to give a brief shout out to. So there's a lot of good volleyball going on right now.
Yep.
UTEP volleyball playing really well. I didn't see this coming. They were probably third best in CUSA a year ago, but they're 10-2 to start the year off. But their schedule compared to, say, a Western Kentucky hasn't been quite as, how would I put this, difficult this year. Is UTEP for real in your guys' minds?
Denver, you can go here.
I think they're pretty good. 10-2 is a start, and then we look at Western Kentucky, similar to the same record. I'm very looking forward to these two playing each other. It's near the end of October.
Yeah.
Interesting fact here: Western Kentucky has never lost to UTEP in volleyball before. Never.
Is that right?
I think so.
Never.
What I'm looking from here, but 15-0 against UTEP in volleyball. So I'm really excited to see those two teams play. I do think UTEP is for real so far. We'll just have to see as the season comes along.
Yeah. I think UTEP is for real, but with that being said, Western Kentucky has the top point scorer, the top server in aces, and then the top leader in in service in aces, but UTEP has the top leader in kills.
Right.
That's what we like to see.
Even though WKU has more top tier players,
Right. They do.
I gotta go with UTEP because
UTEP?
I like that.
I can see it. I can see it.
what I've seen is their blocking has been outstanding.
Yes.
It's just perfectly timing, and where they place that ball on the court
Yep.
that's tough for teams to get to.
Hard to counter that.
Even though Western Kentucky has the leader in digs, but UTEP is in second with they have second best leader in digs.
Right.
But I don't know. I think UTEP just has better ball placement and a better mentality going forward.
I like that. Moving ahead to Conference USA Soccer real quick, a quick lightning round in the final minute or so. Liberty, number 24 in the country right now, 9-0-2 to start the year off. By the way, they got a player who has the most game-winning goals in the country right now, and Hal Ingle is, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Hal Ingle, looking great. FIU had a player who had a hat trick against MTSU, Norman Paquin. We saw that, making all the highlight reels. So, yeah, quick thoughts on Conference USA Soccer, and what do you guys think of Liberty so far?
I think they're looking good. 9-0 to you say 9-0 to start.
Yeah, number 24
so
in the
not
country.
an official loss yet. They just can't get ahead of themselves. They can't get cocky. You know, most teams think they can get cocky, can't lose to anybody, but then that's where you're wrong, and then you start losing games. So I like Liberty so far. Same with FIU. These two teams play each other this coming weekend, I think it is.
Yes, they'll actually be facing off on the 27th, and they're probably the two best teams in the conference right now.
Yeah.
So I think all eyes need to be on Lynchburg, Virginia on the 27th for that match.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good battle. I think FIU can give them a run for their money.
Ooh,
I think
okay.
it's gonna be a good game. I like it.
It's gonna be good. Liberty, they're the real deal.
They are.
FIU, as Paquin.
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 Let me Paquin.
Paquin has
Never gonna forget her name.
Nope.
Not after that.
Has 33. No, excuse me. 3.67
Shots
per game.
Yep.
That's right.
She's played 9 games.
And she has scored 5 goals in her last 2 matches.
Yep.
That's
she put up a
insane,
hat
dude.
trick.
Yeah.
And she put one in from about like 50 feet away.
Yeah, you remember we saw that. We were there for that.
Yeah, that I had to go like, huh?
What just happened?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you were on the call for that one.
I was.
But the other team, yes, FIU is really good. Liberty is no joke. New Mexico State. I think you guys are sleeping on New Mexico State. This week they received 2 first place votes.
They did. And they were great last year.
They were great last year.
Yep.
And they have the most returning players out of all Conference USA.
They do.
I
So
think
they're still there. They're still there.
I think New Mexico State will give Liberty a run for their money, especially
Okay.
after we see this Liberty FIU game and see how they
Okay.
face against each other.
Riding with the Aggies. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what, guys? Time is up for today, but man, I think that was a great first episode. And
Yeah.
thank you both so much for coming on. Looking forward to more in
Thank
the
you.
future. And hey, if you want to watch us, make sure to tune in right here to the MTN Sports YouTube channel. We'll have more CUSA All Access for all of you to watch in the future. But as for today, for Denver Sikorsky and Mr. Devin Lockhart, I'm Dylan Simmons saying so long. And remember to always have an electric night.